Hello, students and any other children listening. This book is called Finding Winnie. It's the true story of the world's most famous bear by Lindsay Mattick, illustrated by Sophie Blackall. This story won a medal, Caldecott medal, even because it's so good. It's a true story of the bear who inspired the Winnie the Pooh stories. And you'll have to excuse me, a little congested, little coughing too today, so I'm going to do my best. I might have to stop for a sip of water. But the art in this is just beautiful too. Could you tell me a story? Asked Cole. It's awfully late. It was long past dark and time to be asleep. What kind of story? You know, a true story. One about a bear. We cuddled up close. I'll do my best, I said. The beautiful pictures. A very long time ago, about 100 years before you were born, there was a veterinarian who lived in Winnipeg. His name was Harry Colborne. A vegetarian, said Cole. Bears don't like vegetables. A veterinarian, it means an animal doctor. I know that, Cole said. That's what I'm going to be when I'm big. If a horse had the hiccups or a cow had a cough, Harry knew how to make them feel just right. Harry's hands were never cold, even in Winnipeg where the winters are so frosty that icicles grow on the inside of your nose. That was just the kind of doctor he was. But a day came when Harry had to say goodbye to Winnipeg. There was a war far away beyond the end of the country, and on the other side of the ocean, he was going to help. He would be caring for soldiers' horses. Harry rode east on a train full of other soldiers. He leaned his head against the window, watching the land scroll by, wondering what it would be like to be so far from home. The train rolled right through dinner and over the sunset and around 10 o'clock and into a nap and out the next day until it stopped at a place called White River. Harry decided to stretch his legs. You can watch the train go all the way through. On the train platform was a man on a bench with a baby. A baby, said Cole, annoyed. See, there he is. A baby bear cub. Harry stopped. It's not every day that you see a bear cub on a train at a train station. That bear has lost its mother, he thought, and the man must be the trapper who got her. What do trappers do? Asked Cole. It's what trappers don't do. They don't raise bears. Raise them? You know, I said. Love them. Harry thought for a long time. Then he said to himself, there is something special about that bear. He felt inside his pocket and said, I shouldn't. He paced back and forth and said, I can't. Then his heart made up his mind, and he walked up to the trapper and said, I'll give you $20 for the bear. Is $20 a lot? Asked Cole. Back then, I said, even more than a lot. Captain Colburn, said the colonel on the train, as the bear sniffed at his knees, we are on a journey of thousands of miles headed into the thick of battle, and you propose to bring this most dangerous creature? Bear stood straight up on her hind legs as if to salute the colonel. All right, 1 second. I'm going to get a sip of water. As if to salute the colonel. The colonel stopped speaking at once, and then, in a quite different voice, he said, oh, hello. The men of Harry's regiment squeezed by to have a look. I've decided to name her Winnipeg, Harry told them, so we'll never be far from home. Winnie for short. They had a very long way to travel, and they had already gone 3 or 4 feet when Winnie grew hungry. What do bears eat? The men wondered. What don't they eat? Said Harry. Vegetables, Cole reminded me. Winnie ate vegetables, I said. She ate everything except onions. They brought her carrots and potatoes and apples and tomatoes and eggs and beans and bread, and a tin of fish, and some slop in a dish, but Winnie was still hungry. "How about dessert?" said Harry, holding up a bottle of condensed milk. Taking the treat in her paws, Winnie lay on her back and hummed a happy song as she drank. The men roared. Excuse me. Okay, here we go. Harry and Winnie gathered with the soldiers from all over Canada in the green fields of Valcotier. A whole city of tents had sprung up there. One was a hospital for horses where Harry went to work. Winnie was in the army now. Harry taught her how to stand up straight and hold her head up high and turn this way and that, and just so. Soon she was assigned her own post. Even the colonel agreed that Winnie was a remarkable bear. She might have been the best navigator in the whole army. If you hid something, could she find it? She could. What if it was farther away, and farther still? Remarkable, he cried. Okay. In the evenings, both of them were too tired to move. When Harry thought about Winnie and the voyage across the ocean, his head said, "I shouldn't." His head said, "I can't." But his heart made up its mind. Nobody had ever tried to float so many people and animals across the Atlantic Ocean before. 30 ships sailed together, carrying about 36,000 men and about 7,500 horses, and about one bear named Winnie. When they finally arrived in England, the regiment went to training on the Salisbury Plain, where it rained and rained and rained. But Winnie didn't seem to mind. She was the mascot of the 2nd Canadian Infantry Brigade, and she attended her post with vigor. One day, Harry came running while she was doing her exercises in the tent. Excuse me. "You'll bring the whole place down," he said with a laugh, and she had a groan. It was winter when the order came. The time had come to fight, and Winnie posed proudly with the men for pictures to send home to their families. Harry thought for a long time. His head argued one way and then the other, but his heart had made up its mind. He went to Winnie and said in a serious way, There's somewhere we need to go." Winnie brushed the mud off her nose and nuzzled in close. Harry drove all the way to the big city. "Here we are," said Harry, "the London Zoo." He took a deep breath. "Winnie, this is going to be our home for a while," he said. Excuse me. She tilted her head. "We're shipping out to France," he explained. "I have to take care of the horses at the front." She rested her big head against him. "I know you want to come, but it's not safe." Winnie's head bowed. Harry's hands were warm as sunshine as usual. "And there's something you must always remember," Harry said. "It's the most important thing, really. Even if we're apart, I'll always love you. You'll always be my bear." Here's the zoo. Is that the end? Well, that's the end of Harry and Winnie's story, I said. But I don't want it to be over, I said Cole. Excuse me. "Sometimes," I said, "you have to let one story end so a new one can begin, or the next one can begin. How do you know when that will happen?" "You don't," I said, "which is why you should always carry on." Once upon a time, there was a little boy with a stuffed bear. He'd had his bear ever since he was a baby, but somehow the boy had never found the right name for him. He tried Teddy, Edward, and even Big Bear. Oh, who does that look like? One day, the boy went to visit the London Zoo with his father, and there was a bear, a real bear, on the terraces there. Right away, the boy thought, there is something special about that bear. Her name was Winnie. They became true friends. The boy was allowed to come right inside her enclosure to play. Once the boy had found Winnie, he knew just what to call his stuffed bear. He named it Winnie the Pooh, and the boy was called Cole, said Cole. His name was Christopher Robin Milne. Christopher Robin would visit Winnie at the zoo, and then he would take his stuffed animal on all sorts of adventures in the woods behind his home. His father, Alexander Milne, wrote books all about them. Harry's Winnie became Winnie the Pooh, and there has never been a more beloved bear. But what about Harry? Cole asked. When Harry visited Winnie at the zoo, he saw how happy she was. She was being raised, she was being truly loved, and that was all he ever wanted. From the moment they met at the train station in White River, so after the war, Harry returned to Winnipeg and his life as an animal doctor. Before long, he was married, had a son named Fred, and Fred had a daughter named Laureen, and Laureen had a daughter named Lindsay, which is me, and then I had a son. And when I saw you, I thought, there is something special about this boy. So I named you after our great-great-grandfather, Captain Harry Colburn. I named you Cole. That's pretty cool. So Cole's great-great-grandfather was Harry. That's me, said Cole in a whisper. That's you. And that's Winnie? Yes, I said, that's Winnie. And it's all true? Sometimes the best stories are, I said. Cole's eyes grew big, and he said nothing for a long time. Then he hugged his own bear close and let out a yawn that reached far away, and they both turned over and fell asleep. And these are some pictures, because this is a true story. So here's Harry as a young soldier. Harry kept diaries throughout World War I, and that was his diary from 1914, the first year of the war. In the diary page, the day Harry found Winnie, it says, bought bear, $20. And there's some soldiers with Winnie and Harry. And there's the whole group. And there's Harry and Winnie that inspired the statue that's in Winnipeg and London. And see, and there's the statue. This is Christopher Robin and Winnie. And then that's the mom, and there's Cole. All right, I hope you enjoyed this story, and I hope to post another one tomorrow. I apologize for all the coughing, but I'm in a little congestion here. All right, you guys have a great day.